Hi, everyone. I'm Brittany. Welcome to Randomness, where we talk about a little bit of everything, the deep, the weird, and the real. So take a breath, open your mind, and let's get into it. There's a specific kind of wound that only intimate betrayal leaves. When trust is broken by a casual acquaintance, we compartmentalize it and we're like, hey, that's life, whatever, we get over it. But when it's a best friend or a parent, a sibling, someone you've been with for a very long time, the pain hits on multiple devastating levels and it hits so hard. First, there's the shock. Oh my God. You experience like a profound state of cognitive dissonance and your brain struggles to kind of like recognize the person. It's like you thought they were someone completely different. It's like you don't even know them, The confidant, the protector, the loyal ally, the person who committed the act of betrayal. And this internal conflict is sometimes more exhausting than the betrayal itself. You spend weeks, maybe months, wrestling with the question, was the entire relationship a lie? Okay, then the second layer is the loss of self-trust. We look back and we try to find the signs we missed, asking, how could I have been so stupid or so blind? And this self-blame is insidious. It makes you question your own judgment, your intuition, your ability to choose safe people. And because you trusted them so completely, you just don't trust yourself. The specific nature of the relationship dictates the severity of this, right? If it was a family member, it can feel like you've lost your safety net. If it was a partner, you lose your future. If it was a lifelong friend, you lose your history. In every case, it's a doable, no, it's not a doable anything. It's a double, my bad. It's a double pain. You grieve the relationship you had and you grieve the person you thought they were. Mm-hmm. And it's important to give yourself permission to feel the messy, complicated emotions that follow betrayal. This isn't a single, simple little breakup where you only feel sadness. This is a complex cocktail of emotions that usually cycle rapidly. So we got grief. Betrayal is a loss, and you have to mourn the end of the relationship as you knew it. And this looks like the traditional stages of grief: denial, bargaining, and crushing sadness. And then you have rage and injustice, and this is often the most intense phase. You tend to feel a burning sense of unfairness. Why did they do this? Why me? This anger, if not processed, can turn inward, leading you to isolation. And maybe you're going to blame yourself. Who knows? And then comes the confusion and emptiness because this person was so interwoven into your life, your habits, your routines, your support structure. Their absence creates a void. You might feel lost, unsure who to call for advice or who to spend your weekend with. And let's not forget the physical toll. Betrayal, it triggers our body's stress response system. You might experience real physical symptoms like sleepless nights, headaches, anxiety attacks, and a constant tight knot in your stomach. Recognizing these physical symptoms as a valid response to emotional trauma is key. You're not just overreacting. Your body is protecting itself from a major threat. Okay, so healing is not a linear process, and it definitely won't be quick. But there are some very important steps that you can take to move from victimhood to resilience. And the first step is radical acceptance. This means accepting the reality of the situation without approving of it. Like you accept that this person betrayed me. They showed me who they are, and I cannot change them. Radical acceptance stops the loop of bargaining, wishing things were different, and trying to force reconciliation is emotionally freeing it is emotionally freeing. I can't talk. God dang. It's freeing. It's emotionally freeing, but it is incredibly painfully painful. Jesus. Okay, so next you have to reclaim your self-trust and start small. Keep promises to yourself. If you say you're going to meditate for 10 minutes, do it. If you say you won't look at their social media, hold that boundary. Every promise kept is, it's a little small deposit back into your self-trust account. And this is how you learn that you are reliable, even if someone else wasn't. Finally, we talk about boundaries. When someone betrays you, they've taught you where their loyalty ends. You got to listen, whether you choose to cut the person out entirely or severely limit contact. You need an ironclad boundary plan. And this is not about punishing them. It's about protecting your peace. And a boundary isn't a threat. It is a necessary statement about what you need to survive and thrive. Because you know what? You are the CEO of your own life. And setting these boundaries is your job. Right? Am I right? I am so right. Anyway. Okay, so we just talked about the shock, the loss of self-trust, and the physical toll that intimate betrayal takes on our bodies. But what happens after the dust settles? What do you do when the initial rage and the grief begin to quiet down and you're left facing the long, winding road of the aftermath? Well, real quickly, let's talk about, some misunderstood concepts of forgiveness. Okay? So we live in a culture that pushes forgiveness as a cure-all, right? We're told that we have to forgive to be able to heal. And we're told that, I don't know what we're told that, never mind that. And what sucks is I can't even edit this shit out because it's a long story. But anyway, I'm human, you see? But, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, we're told that we need to forgive people to heal, and that harboring anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And while there is truth to the idea that holding on to active rage is exhausting, this pressure, it creates what psychologists call the forgiveness trap. It forces people into a state of premature forgiveness. You try to forgive before you've actually processed the anger, which only leads to repressed resentment. Right, so let's redefine what forgiveness actually is and what it isn't. First, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. You can fully forgive someone and decide to never speak to them again, right? It's an internal shift. It's simply the decision to stop letting their past actions control your present emotional state. And it means releasing the demand for a better past, right? Second, forgiveness is a solo journey. It requires absolutely nothing from the person who hurt you or anyone else, really. They don't have to apologize. They don't have to understand what they did. They don't even have to be alive for you to reach a place of peace. If you're not ready to forgive, that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes the step before forgiveness is just simply neutrality. Your goal doesn't have to be loving them or wishing them well. Your goal can just simply be reaching a point where hearing their name no longer makes you want to punch a hole in the wall. Okay? So, this brings us to the ultimate dilemma. Do I stay or do I walk away? If the person who betrayed you is genuinely remorseful and wants to repair the bond, whether it's a spouse, family member, a close friend, how do you know if trust can actually be rebuilt? Trust is freaking incredibly fragile. It takes years to build, seconds to break, and a lifetime to repair, but repair is possible under very specific conditions. And if you're trying to decide whether to forgive someone and give them a second chance, you need to look for 3 non-negotiable behaviors from them. The first one being radical accountability. They must own the betrayal completely. Completely, no excuses. No shifting the blame. No saying, well, you did this, which made me do that. If they gaslight you or try to minimize your pain, the foundation cannot be rebuilt. Second, patience with your healing. The betrayer does not get to set the timeline for your recovery. If they say shit like, are you still bringing that up? Or it's been months, get over it. They're not ready to do the work. Rebuilding trust requires them to sit with the discomfort of your pain for as long as it takes. 3, consistent, verifiable action. Words are cheap, right? Especially after a betrayal. Trust is rebuilt in the micro moments. If they say they're going to be somewhere, they need to be there. If they promise transparency, they need to provide it willingly without you having to pry it out of them. If these 3 elements are missing, any attempt to rebuild a relationship will likely only lead to cycles of anxiety and further disappointment. Remember, walking away isn't a failure. Sometimes it's the ultimate act of self-preservation. It may be the most insidious damage of betrayal is how it changes the way we look at new people, you know? When you've been deeply hurt by someone that you trusted with your whole heart, your brain's defense mechanisms go into overdrive. You start scanning every new friend, colleague, or partner for red flags. You find yourself thinking, if my best friend of 10 years could lie to me, why would this new person be any different? And this is called hypervigilance. And while it feels like protection, it's actually like a cage. It prevents you from experiencing true connection because you are constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. How do we break out of this cage? We do it by realizing that safety does not come from controlling other people's loyalty. You can't guarantee that someone will never hurt you. People change. People make mistakes. Sometimes people fail us. True safety comes from knowing that even if someone betrays you again, you will survive it. Your strength does not lie in building a wall so high that no one can get close. Your strength lies in your resilience. You survived the last fracture, you gathered the pieces, and you rebuilt yourself. You are not helpless. When you trust your own ability to heal, you can afford to take the risk of being vulnerable with new people. So you maybe you will not be the exact same person you were before the betrayal occurred. That innocence is gone, and it's okay to grieve that. But the boundaries you've learned to set, the self-trust you've reclaimed, the emotional maturity you've fought for makes you incredibly strong, right? So you're not ruined. You are beautifully, resiliently You are reconstructed, okay? You are good to go. You are gold. You're perfect. But if you are currently in the thick of the aftermath, wondering if you'll ever feel safe again, I want you to take a deep breath. You are doing the hard work of putting yourself back together. Trust the process, trust your boundaries, and most of all, trust yourself. Thank you so much, though, guys, for joining me for today's episode. If it helped you find some clarity or resonated with you in some way, please leave a review or share it with someone who might be navigating their own healing process. But until next time, take care of your energy and keep moving forward. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow and remember, keep your energy grounded, your mind open, and your curiosity alive.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.